How's it going, everybody? Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. Today we are going to be talking about Ahsoka. Now, so far, the first 3 episodes have come out, and I've watched them. And this is going to be a spoiler conversation, so just keep that in mind if you're going to be watching. Today I just wanted to take the time to run through some things, some talking points from the show, some expectations for the rest of the show, and some sort of hopes and hope-nots. I guess let me start off by saying that I am loving this show so far. The first 3 episodes have been great. I'm enjoying seeing characters that were introduced in animation into live action. We've been getting that ever since the whole Mandoverse has been happening, but it's always nice to get more. I'll take as many as we can get. I am very happy that Ahsoka has finally got her own project. Tales of the Jedi was like half hers and then half Dooku's, but finally we got just an Ahsoka-centric project. Now obviously Ahsoka had her introduction in animation in the Clone Wars, and a lot of the other main characters in the show have had their introduction in animation, and it's so nice to see them in live action. I'm really enjoying the castings. The castings are all great. Obviously Rosario Dawson has been Ahsoka for some time now, but I think that she's the perfect casting for Ahsoka. Ever since they announced her casting, I didn't know who I wanted to play Ahsoka in my head. I didn't even have a fan cast, but as soon as I saw that she was going to be playing Ahsoka back in Mando Season 2, loved it immediately. I'm loving all the other character castings as well. Obviously, you've got some people who are back to play their characters in live action. You've got David Tennant as Huyang, you've got Clancy Brown as Ryder Azadi, but you've also got the recasts into live action, which I think are really good. I think Sabine is great. I think Hera is great. I think even Jai Kell, for the second we saw him, and Jason Sandula, great. I have no problem with any of the castings in this show. I'm really enjoying the feel of the show, and I had the same thought while watching the first 2 episodes that a friend of mine had. We both thought that it feels so far like The Mandalorian Season 1, and I'm not sure exactly why, but it just feels that way, and I love that feeling. Just the feeling of jumping into a universe you know, but being just completely in the dark. You have no idea what to really expect, even though with this being a continuation of the events of Rebels and continuation of Ahsoka's life and such, we kind of know some things that are going to happen, generally speaking, but we really are in a time frame with these characters where anything can happen, so to speak. Like, none of these characters are safe. We don't see them in the sequels. Anyone can go at any time, and I love that. As much as I love projects like the Clone Wars where you got Anakin and Obi-Wan, you know that they're gonna make it. You know how they die. But with just about every character in Ahsoka, anything can happen. And while we're sort of on the topic of the show as a whole, can we take some time to appreciate how good it looks? The show looks great. In episode 3, the shots with the Purrgil look movie budget. They look really good. And also the Lothcats. The CGI and animatronic mixture, so good. They look so good. And aside from the CGI aspect, costume design looks great, set pieces look great, hair and makeup, great. I have no complaints with the way the show looks whatsoever. For those of us who have been Star Wars fans our whole lives, you've always wanted to be a Jedi in the background, or to wear a stormtrooper outfit and run across the screen or whatever. This show has brought that feeling back in a way that I haven't felt in a long time. The opening scene of episode 1, where Baylan and Shin are boarding the New Republic ship, I've never wanted to be just like a New Republic guard or a New Republic officer or anything as much as I do now. Like, just to wear the outfit, maybe run down the hall or get sliced up or whatever. Veering off topic completely now, let's talk about some of the fan theories that have been going around. I don't know where y'all are coming up with some of these. So let's first talk about Merrick, the last Inquisitor, as they're saying he is. I've seen people say that Merrick is Ezra. That doesn't make any sense to me. Ezra went with Thrawn. The Purrgil didn't stop to let him off the ship. He's either in the new galaxy or he's dead. That's what it is. And I don't think he's dead. He's alive. He's in the new galaxy. But to have Ezra be Merrick wouldn't make any sense. You'd have to either not explain or explain a whole lot. And I don't think they're going to go that way. There's no way that Ezra would fall to the dark side completely after his arc in Rebels, after the death of Kanan. There's no way. And to be back in our galaxy, helping get to Thrawn, who he should be in the same place as, generally speaking, in that galaxy, already, doesn't make any sense to me. I've seen the fan theory that Merrick is going to be Barriss. Y'all might just need to let this Barriss thing go. We've been over the Barriss thing in Rebels. I don't think it's happening. In the few lines that Merrick has had, he's had a deeper voice. Now, it does kind of sound like it could be influenced by his mask or a voice changer or what have you, but I'm choosing to believe that it's not Barriss. I've heard the fan theory that Merrick is going to be Starkiller, and I have the same opinion every time the Starkiller conversation comes up. Starkiller was fine for Legends, but he's too powerful for canon. We've already set too much canon to then insert someone as powerful as Starkiller just like in the midst. And I've also heard that maybe Merrick's just an adaptation of Starkiller. But if that's the case, then he's not really Starkiller. I know that people want Starkiller in canon, but if you make him Merrick, the last Inquisitor, then he's not really Starkiller. He's just gonna be the namesake Starkiller. There's not gonna be any physical attributes of the character that are in canon. It's just going to be the same name. And to be honest, if they end up doing that, they bring in Starkiller and just nerf him and make him completely different, his origin different, his background different, then you might as well just make it a new character. And to me, that's what I hope for the most. I just hope Merrick is a new character. I don't want it to be someone we know. I don't want it to be a nerfed Starkiller. Just make it a new character. And I have a feeling that's what they're gonna do, but I'm just crossing my fingers because who knows? Anything can happen. I've heard the fan theory that Shin is a grown-up Omega from Bad Batch. I don't know why y'all are saying this. Hair color? Hairstyle maybe? Maybe the voice? But I really don't see that happening. Like, it's possible, I get it, it's possible. But I really don't think it's happening. And I really don't want it to be the case either. I think that would be cool, and you'd be bringing in another character from another animated show, but it wouldn't really hit the same with it being a twist reveal, because to our knowledge, no one in Ahsoka would know who Omega is. So it wouldn't have that emotional grip your heartstrings sort of reaction from anyone in the show. And to be honest, we can't have all the kids that are filled with goodness fall to the darkness, i.e. Anakin. You have Reva. We don't need Omega 2. Not everyone needs to. I do have some predictions for this show, and this first one I thought of when they double dropped the first 2 episodes. I don't think Baylan is going to live through the end of the show. I think he might get killed. And I don't think that he's going to die still in the dark. I think he may have some sort of an Anakin moment where he comes back to the light before he dies, or when he's dying. Or maybe just his conscience is the cause of his death, his non-commitment to the power that he's helping put in place. And I think that for 2 reasons. I think he doesn't really want to kill Ahsoka, as we see at the end of episode 2. He's willing to do so, or so we think, but he doesn't really have a desire to. And so maybe his sort of riding the fence, in a sense, between the light and dark will be his undoing ultimately. Maybe he won't be as aggressive towards Ahsoka when he's fighting her because he doesn't really have a desire to kill her, and maybe that will be his demise. But the more likely thing for me is that he won't be as committed to Thrawn and this new order that he's putting in place, and that may come back to bite him. Maybe his apprentice, Shin, will fall deeper into the dark side and see him as weak and try to kill him. I don't really see that as something that I'd put all my eggs into that basket, but I think it's possible. Another reason I think Balin will die is because, as Morgan called it, he was a bit sentimental when speaking about Ahsoka. He didn't agree. He said it was just truth. But I think that there's too many villains, and when Thrawn comes back, there'll be even more. There's too many villains for the show. And I'm not saying that there's too many villains for the show to work. Like, obviously, it's working just fine with the amount of villains they have, but there's too many for them to all be around in the end. Just like, you've seen shows, you've seen movies, you know how it goes. Not everyone's gonna make it to the end, and I think Balin will be the one. Piggybacking on top of that, sort of, I don't think Shin will die. I think she'll live, but I don't think she'll stay in the darkness for the remainder of the show. And if she does stay in the darkness for the remainder of the show, I think that in future appearances, if she makes those, she won't remain in the darkness. I think if Balin is killed by Thrawn or someone on their side, I think Shin will have a realization and come to the light, sort of, or maybe just, take a few steps that way, just because the way that she looks at Balin for reassurance, for guidance in the show, just like the subtle things, the way she looks at him, I have a feeling she'll take his death really hard, and I think that will sort of determine where she ends up. I don't think Ahsoka or Sabine or anyone is going to kill Balin. If I did think that, I would say Shin would be pushed further toward the dark side, but I definitely see him dying more at the hands of ex-Imperials than the Jedi. Another prediction I have, it's kind of obvious, but we will find Thrawn, we will find Ezra. I think they'll both be alive. What state we find them in is going to be, TBD. I think Thrawn will be pretty okay when we find him. I think he'll be running things when we find him, to be honest. Ezra, I'm not sure what state we'll find him in. I don't think he will have fallen to the dark side. I've seen some people theorize that. I really don't see that happening. Not after his Rebels arc, not after Kanan's death. He won't fall to the dark side. Not completely anyway. Maybe an instinctual, like survival, like draw on the dark side a little bit, but definitely not head first into the darkness. Another prediction I have is that this is going to be one of those we win and we lose sort of shows, where at the end of the show, I think Thrawn will be back. I think he'll be in charge of the Imperial remnants and they'll be galvanized. I think that maybe there'll be a silver lining for Ahsoka and the gang, but I think that we're gonna be ending on sort of not a great note at the end of the show. With the lineup of shows that's coming after and just the setup that's been happening, I think we're going to be dealing with Thrawn for the next couple seasons of whatever we have coming out. So I think maybe our conclusion or our victory at the end of the show might be getting rid of Morgan or getting rid of Merrick or someone like that, or redeeming someone maybe. Not even that we defeat anyone, but we redeem someone who's fallen, Balin or Shin. But I don't see us defeating Thrawn. No shot. Not with the way we keep getting Moff Gideon back, like, he's dead. Oh, no he's not. He's arrested. No he's not. He's dead. Again. But we'll see. I really don't think Thrawn's gonna be a one-season villain. He's gotta be for a while.
What's up, y'all? As you can see, it's a different day. I was editing today, and I realized that like 10 minutes of footage, no sound. My mic died, so I'm gonna have to make a part 2 to this video to cover some other things because I'm not gonna do it all right now. But yeah, sorry.